Hey everyone, I just wanted to share with you a pleasant surprise that I discovered. It's the keyboard that you see here. It's a brand I wasn't familiar with. I found it by accident. It wasn't even completely what I was looking for, but it turned out to be quite the perfect choice. And so I wanted to share that with you and talk a little bit about it in case you weren't familiar with it, which I'm guessing many of you aren't. It's a brand that I wasn't familiar with myself, but it turns out they've made a really nice keyboard. So, a little bit of background. I used to have the Corsair Strafe RBG. However, if you look at the video here, you can see right here I started to use an old Surface tablet. I was cleaning out the garage actually, and I had forgotten all about this, but this is a second generation Surface that I started using to display data if I need it. I actually have three monitors, but here I'm using it for a site called mynoise.net. I guess I'll give that a little plug too, because it's one of only two sites that I occasionally donate money to because I find it so useful. It's an ambient noise site, but the sounds that they create are really something. So I don't think you can see it on the video, but this is actually called Medieval Village. If I move up a little bit there, maybe you can see that Medieval Village right there. But they have many, many, many sounds. Everything from ambient noises like white noise to things like RPG Village or Dark Cave or Beach or Jungle with Thunderstorms or Japanese Temple, or just as many as you can imagine. So it's a really neat site, mynoise.net, a little bonus plug there. I'm not affiliated with the site at all in any way, but I just think they really do a nice job. As a matter of fact, here I'll unmute the Medieval Village for just a minute. I don't know how well you can hear that. And that's just one of, I don't even know how many, 100, 150, I'm not sure how many sounds they have. And you can alter them and adjust sliders and make an infinite number of sounds. I also wanted to add, speaking of that I'm recording this on my phone, something I don't normally do. I'm not using all the lights in the room so that the RGB on the keyboard can really shine. So hopefully you'll be able to see it. It's a relatively new way of doing this kind of thing for me. So anyway, I used to use the Corsair Strafe RGB. I'll hold it here in front of the camera. I don't know how well you'll be able to see. I mean, look at the difference between these two things. It's like comparing a TIE fighter to one of those Star Destroyers. The Corsair is big, it's bulky, it's clunky. The keys don't give satisfying feedback. They're very, very soft, soft touch keys. Another thing about it that's always bugged me is this bar across the top. I'm always telling students in my design classes to efficiently utilize the space you have. Don't have wasted space on anything. Not on interfaces, not on posters, not on anything. But this is all wasted space, as is this spot here with the brand. On top of that, it has this crease in it, this little groove, this little valley that just picks up dust and debris like you wouldn't believe. Not only that, the coating on the keys has been wearing away. This has been going on for a long time, and it's particularly bad on these two keys. I don't know why. I don't think I use them any more or any less than any other key, but that's the way we are. There are some other issues too. The cord, since it came right out of the middle, I had to wrap it around the surface that I started using. It was a real pain, and this cord's heavy and thick. And the reason it's heavy and thick, and this is also another weird thing, the reason it's so heavy and thick, I'll just show you this quickly, is because it actually requires two USB ports. And even in my PC that has a USB 3.0 expansion card, USB ports are a rare commodity. So I was never really thrilled about the fact it used two. And then of course you had to have the IQ software, the Corsair IQ software. I think it's called IQ. The software to control the keyboard. And of course, some of it's neat. I mean, you can download light templates that, do different patterns of flashing or will match up with the action in a game or look like the American flag or whatever else. And those things are really neat, but I personally never used those. So what I was actually looking for was a wireless keyboard because I wanted to control the cables a little bit, free up the slots. But in the process of looking for a wireless keyboard, I found this. This is made by a company called Redragon. I don't actually know how to pronounce this. There's the brand name right there, as you can see. If it was Red Dragon, there would be two Ds, Red Dragon. But there's only one D, so is it Redragon or Red Dragon or Redragon? I don't know how to pronounce it. But regardless of how you pronounce it, they've made a remarkable keyboard. So I will also mention that the box it came in was nothing special. As you can see, it's just this, and it was bashed up when it came in from Amazon, by the way. So it was a little bit smashed up. And the keyboard wasn't even wrapped in anything. It was just placed inside this bubble wrap sleeve. This cardboard thing was in there. I don't know why exactly. It wasn't doing anything. But it did have some of the things that other, high-end keyboard manufacturers will include. There was this card that has a QR code you can scan if you need service. There is a sticker if you want to brag about the fact that you use these. I don't think anybody will know exactly what it means. The type of keyboard is the Parvati. That's the model. This covers like 20 languages, and you can see how thin it is. But it actually provides a lot of information, the 3 pages that's dedicated to each language. Also, when I opened the box, keycap puller fell out. So hopefully this isn't foreshadowing anything. But about the keyboard itself, the reason I got it, there were 2 reasons really. One is because it has this incredibly unique design choice of having the cord come out on the right-hand side of the back of the keyboard. That's absolutely fantastic, and it fits my use case, my needs perfectly. I've never seen that before, and I think probably in some situations this would not be ideal. They don't have a version where the cord is on the left-hand side, for example. So if that's something you needed, then I would guess you're out of luck. But in this case, it fit exactly what I was looking for. Barring a completely wireless keyboard. The other thing about it is that it was low profile. So unlike the battle tank that the Corsair was, if you look here, it does actually have a very low profile. It's a very thin keyboard, and I think that's fantastic. It declutters the desk just by virtue of its design. And on top of all that, I got it for $60. Some people in the comments on Amazon were saying they got it for $50 at some point, so you may be able to even get it lower than that. And considering that Razer and Corsair and others can sell their keyboards for as much as $200, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to test this out. I was really surprised by how well made and how functional this keyboard is. So first of all, even though it's low profile like this, and I'm leaning in and out from the phone, so I hope my voice isn't getting really loud and really quiet, but it's a very sturdy keyboard. It's in a metal case. It feels substantial. It's heavy, like you could use it as a defensive weapon if somebody broke into your house. It really has a nice heft and a nice presence to it. Not only that, the RGB, the actual colored lights, are really bright and vibrant, much more so than the Corsair that I had before. They're really noticeable, and they're very vivid. There is a lot you can do with this keyboard. So they claim that it's using low-profile red switches. They don't ever say, cherry switches. They just say low-profile red switches. So I don't know exactly what kinds they are, what the deal is with that. But they have an outstanding feedback. There's excellent travel on them. There's a good bounce. There's a noticeable click. They're not like, very high-end mechanical switches. But they really feel nice when you type. And hopefully you can hear it. Just a good, I don't want to say click, but one step down from click. A really nice feel. The travel on them is nice, even though it's low profile. A good response, a pleasure to type on. So it's got a strong build quality, and it has very good key action for a keyboard. Of course, it also has the RGB on it, so we can talk about that a little bit. First of all, you'll notice on the side it has these effects right here, one here and one over there. It doesn't matter what pattern you have going on the keyboard, those stay the same. Those don't change at all. To switch up the RGB pattern you have, you hold down this function key and then press one of the navigation keys here. And you can see, well, hopefully you can see this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each one has a couple of pre-programmed patterns in it. So if we do 1 here, hold down function and press 1, you can see it does this breathing kind of thing. If we do 2, if we press 1 again, it does this. We have this. If we switch over to the next one, we have this kind of thing. Pretty nifty. Or you can set it up so it just lights up whatever key you tap. I'm not good enough of a typer to do that, I don't think. Here it sends it across the row. Very nifty again. We have this. This is pressing on the next one, number 3. Here. This is a neat effect too, I think. I wouldn't use it, but it's a neat effect. If we switch over to 4, this is the stock one, by the way. When you plug it in for the first time, this is the pattern you'll see. Another variation on that. Here's a circular pattern. We switch over to 5. We have this. This one really shows off the vibrancy of the RGB. It's illuminating each key differently, and it really shows how bright they are, even in comparison to the other keys. I realize my hand's been in the way for some of this. We have this going on. This. Back to the beginning. And then we have these. This is probably my favorite one, this one that radiates out from the center. But that leads me to the next point. You can actually control these in many different ways, and it's pretty remarkable considering that it's all done from the keyboard. And again, with the function key, if you hit the function key and the left arrow key, it'll reverse the direction of the pattern. That's true for all patterns, by the way. It'll do that for all of them. You can also set the colors. You can set speed. You can have it go faster or slower by using the plus and minus keys. Let's try a different one. There, with function and the right arrow key, you can see it cycles through single colors instead of the full RGB spectrum. And again, you can have it go the other direction by hitting function and the left arrow key. Let's try plus. Minus slows it way down, as you can see. Plus will speed it back up. And there's other things you can do. There's actually macros that you can create where you can set up your own colors or your own functions. It's all done through the keyboard. And that leads to the next great thing about this. There's no software to download. No software runs on your machine. It's all done in the keyboard, which I think is remarkable, and it's a brilliant idea. I don't want to have this software running in the background. And then, of course, there's the cord that only takes up one USB plug. So I was really happy with this. I was surprised that this company I'd never heard of, this brand I'd never heard of, but got such good reviews on Amazon, really did come through and create a fantastic keyboard that was exactly what I was looking for. I'm stunned at the quality of it, frankly, and how well it works. The only real caveat that I can mention about this is that I've only been using it for about a day, maybe 24 hours. So it's possible that in the future, it just stops working, it breaks down, the coating on the keys wears off, one of them just completely pops off, it catches fire, the RGB stops. I don't know what could happen. It may completely crash and burn in 3 months. I'm just not sure. But for now, just with the 24 hours that I've been using it, I wish I'd have found it earlier, because I've been using this Corsair for a long time, taking up real estate, taking up a USB slot, not giving me the feedback I like in a keyboard. And then I found this. It's less than half the price. It's very sturdy. It's very well made, at least so far. So what can I tell you? I think if you happen to be looking for one, and especially if you have the unusual need of having the cord come out on the right-hand side, then I can't recommend this keyboard enough. It's really fantastic. And I'll even add that if you look here, this is my Razer Mamba, and it's just not been very good. It's been cutting out. Sometimes it'll stop responding for 10 seconds at a time. And the lighting even has not been working properly, not the way I set it up in the software. And this company, Redragon, however you pronounce it, they actually have, I've noticed maybe a $30 mouse that it has a braided cable, it has the RGB stuff, the reviews of it have been very positive. So I may actually be trying that one as well and switching both the keyboard and the mouse over to this brand. I was so impressed with it. So there you go. Just a really remarkable discovery that I'm very glad to have made. And I'm really hoping that this keyboard continues to function well. I'd hate for something to go wrong because I have such a positive initial impression of it. But I'll give it a few months and we'll see. And if something does happen, something catastrophic or even less so, then I'll make another video about that and let you know. But as of right now, and according to the reviews I saw on Amazon, everybody's mostly happy with it. So fingers crossed. Thanks for watching.